Now, after missing out on the Heroes Welcome for Filipino Olympians, golfer Dottie Ardina and gymnast Alea Finnegan, Emma Malabuyo, and Levi Jung-Ruivivar finally had their own special reception at the Malacanang Palace last night. And we couldn't pass up on a chance to have one of the female athletes here in the studio with us this evening. So let's welcome Olympic gymnast Levi Jung-Ruivivar. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, Levi, how are you? So you came from the U.S., right?
Yes, I did.
Straight to Manila.
Yes, I just got in yesterday morning and then went right to Malacanang Palace. So.
Yeah, it's been a busy schedule for you ever since you got here. But first, let's talk about your Olympic experience.
Yes.
You're 18 years old, but you already made your debut in the Paris Olympics. Talk about the whole journey, the whole experience.
Oh, it was such a whirlwind. Honestly, I've been training in gymnastics since I was 18 months old. So it's
18
been
months?
18 months
old.
old.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
How old is that?
My baby's nearly 18 months and I don't know what is, how do I train her? Do I throw her on?
Yeah, just throw it in there.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, my
They're
parents
pretty
had so
malleable.
much energy. It was hanging off of furniture and all that. So they just were just try sport, and it happened to be gymnastics, and I stuck with it. My mom kind of wanted me to be a ballerina, but I chose gymnastics, and I'm happy I did. But yeah, it was just a crazy experience. I mean, I feel like I learned so much. There were a lot of ups and downs through just qualifying to the Olympics in the first place, through the World Cup series, and then once I got to the Olympics, there were ups and downs as well. The week of my competition, I had an anaphylactic tree nut allergy, which took me out of training for a day, and then my body was recovering leading up to the competition. My muscles were fatigued, so that was a whole experience in itself, and then competing was incredible. I just remember walking out there and seeing the crowd and seeing everyone, and seeing that Filipino flag in the crowd was really inspiring and just made me so happy. And then being in the Olympic Village with other incredible athletes and being around our delegation, it was just amazing.
Well, you're the youngest among all of our delegation. You just met the President of the Philippines. Have you met the President before?
No, I have
Right? That's
not.
a lot of firsts for you.
It is a lot of firsts. It was such an honor, and I'm just so grateful that him and his office invited me to come meet with him, and I'm just so blessed that I got to talk to him, and I was so nervous. I didn't know what to say, but he was so welcoming, and I really could feel his support for all of the athletes, not just us. And he really took his time to talk to us and tell us about how excited he was that we were supporting the Philippines, and that he was rooting for us the whole time, and that even other Asian countries were rooting for us as well. So it was really
Did he
nice
know
to hear
anything
from him.
about gymnastics?
Did he know anything about gymnastics? I mean, I don't know if he knows technical terms, but he was keeping up with our stories. He was saying, he was talking to the president of Malaysia actually, and his daughter woke him up in the middle of the night, at 2 a.m. to go watch us compete. And so he was saying they were doing watch parties in his office, and they were all cheering really loud. So that was amazing.
Levi, a lot of people stayed up just to watch you girls, the entire Team Philippines in the Paris Olympics. But I think what makes it so special is that you girls made history for us, because this is the first time in 60 years that we've sent female gymnasts to the Olympics. So congratulations to you, Alea and Emma. But let's talk about your Filipino lineage. What does it mean for you to represent the Philippines? And talk about your Filipino family as well.
Yeah, it means so much to represent the Philippines. I have to say the Filipino community is probably one of the most supportive communities I've ever been a part of, and it means a lot to me that everyone has just gotten behind me, and I can feel the love. No matter where I am in the world, I feel the Filipino community behind me, and I think that gives me a lot of pride and a lot of honor. My lolo was born and raised in the Philippines before he moved to Hawaii, and had my dad. My dad was born and raised in Hawaii before he moved to Boston for college, where he met my mother, and then yeah, that's where that's
Your
where
Filipino
yes.
roots. What do you love about being Filipino, or what do you think is your favorite part about Filipino culture that you have in you?
There's so many different
many.
things, but I mean, obviously the food.
The food?
I love food. And I love that there's always like a lot of like community around just enjoying a meal like with your family. And I think, you know, a lot of people don't really spend as much time with their families in the US as they do in the Philippines. And I think it's really nice that like everyone in the Philippines, like family is very close. And I think that is something specific about like my family as well. So I really enjoy that. And then also, I have to say, like, Filipinos have a lot of, like, grit in them and a lot of fight. And I think that, like, kind of, like, feisty competitive side comes out, like, in my sport. So I guess I would also say that.
I say here are good looks.
Okay.
You're like, you're a star. You're like, you know, I have to say this. You're pretty already competing and all that, but you're prettier in person. Like, you're fun. You want to do.
Reese's girl crushing on you
I'm
right
not,
now.
I'm not going to be surprised if you do. Are there offers already, like, other than
business?
sports, like going to show business, entertainment,
I would
modeling?
love to do that. I mean, I've modeled for some leotard companies in the U.S., but I would love the opportunity to like work with different brands or like do modeling in the Philippines, or even like both my parents are actors and they have like a lot of experience in that department. I did like a little short film and some voiceover work when I was younger. I actually did the voice of Dawn, a character in Doc the Stuffins, who was Filipina. So yeah, that was amazing. But I would love to continue to be able to go down that route.
I wanted to pick up on something that you said before about your gymnastics career, which is that you started at 18 months.
Yes.
But at what age did you actually start training professionally, and at what point did you say, look, I'm going to go pro?
Yeah, so it was definitely like a long journey to get to the pro level. I would say the age that I started transitioning more to like elite is what we call it, was actually 7 years old. So at 7 years old, my coach decided to put me in this program called TOPS, which is like the US program that builds you up to elite. And so I was in that program for a lot of years until I was taken into national team camp, which is like the highest level that you can get at in the U.S., which is like where Simone and Suni and all of them train like once a month. But then I decided I wanted to represent the Philippines, so I took myself out of the U.S. system and transitioned to the Philippines, which was the best decision ever. And yeah.
Did you go to your parents and said, look, I want to go elite, or did you all talk about it together as a family?
I think we like all talked about it as a family because
7 is still a very young age.
Yes,
right?
it was a very young age, and I wasn't actually quite sure what that would entail. Like looking back, I just kind of was, yeah, I'll go for it. Like it's a different path. I want to go down a different path, but I really didn't know what it meant. Like how can you know what that means when you're 7? But and neither did my parents actually. So they were just kind of supporting me through everything. My entire family has been incredibly supportive. I mean, doing elite gymnastics, it requires a lot of time. It's financially a lot, and then also like my family has been split up in different places because of where I need to train. So just like through everything, I've kind of said like, this is what my goal is, this is what I want to do, and they just backed me through it, which honestly I'm so grateful for because not a lot of people do that, and it was a lot of work on their end.
Absolutely. It takes a village.
Yeah.
Levi, you mentioned you're going to talk to some youth that's also in line with the meeting with the president. Can you tell us more about it?
They like just reached out to me and asked if I could speak for the youth program, and I agreed. And obviously, I'm not sure like what we're gonna talk about yet, but whatever I can do, like to help inspire the next generation of Filipino athletes is like that's my goal. I've said from the beginning when I started competing for the Philippines that I'm really, really hopeful that going forward, I can hopefully inspire or work with the younger Filipino athletes, because I do really think there's a lot of potential in Filipino gymnastics specifically, because, you know, I think we just like have it naturally in us to be really successful. And I really hope that, you know, it takes a long time to like build up a program, especially like I started at 18 months old, started doing elite at 7, so it takes a long time to get to this level, and like to be able to give them like the right information like right from the start, I think would be really helpful to them. And then yeah, just be able to like inspire them and talk to them and get to know them, because also like last time I was in the Philippines, I gave them some of my leotards and like talked to them for a little bit, and just like to see like the smile on their face and like hear from them was amazing. Like my favorite part of coming to the Philippines.
And that's also the best part, I guess, about athletes wanting to pay it forward. But I couldn't help but notice your Olympic tattoo.
Oh yeah.
That's very nice. That's like a
Thank
branded.
you.
Yeah, that's a
He's
trademark of
branded.
every Olympian,
Yes.
right?
Is that like a thing for Olympians? You
You got this in the Olympic Village?
I didn't get in the Olympic
Okay.
Village. I actually was planning on getting it in Paris, but then I just had so much going on. I
Okay.
ended up getting it back when I was in LA. But actually, Aaliyah, Emma, and I were hoping to all get it together, but unfortunately, we like just didn't have the time. So yeah, I think Aaliyah has hers here. I have mine here, and then yeah.
We show it to the
Can we
camera.
show it to the camera?
So we show your tattoo.
Oh yeah,
and
Very
Aaliyah,
good.
you
you
can see it.
can
there.
actually have,
If you can get those Olympic rings tattooed in
What?
their
You
bodies.
mean I can't just walk into a tattoo
No.
parlor and ask for the Olympic rings?
I mean, you can. But
oh, okay. But it's gonna make me like a
yeah, you're a fraud.
faker,
Do it.
just like according to Bi Sheila Guo.
Well-
But no, I coming back to you know, needing a whole support system around gymnastics. And the truth is, the hard truth is that it doesn't quite. Yes, you're right. There's a lot of potential. But it doesn't quite get enough attention here. Obviously, it's overshadowed by the basketball, the boxing, and
other sports. Yeah.
now more so volleyball as well. Gymnastics, to be honest, kind of just had a renaissance in this Olympics
Yeah.
because of you, because of Emma, because of
Alea.
because of Carlos.
Yeah.
But before that, there were, you know, hardly anyone was talking about it. So now that you, with your perspective of having competed in the Olympics, what do you think needs to be done if, say, we want to bring up, as you said, the next generation of Olympic gymnasts now?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, like you mentioned, actually, President Marcos was talking to us a little bit about this. He said that, like, us competing in the Olympics actually brought a lot of awareness to gymnastics in the Philippines, and that there's been an overwhelming number of people in high schools or just elementary schools that have been wanting to sign up for gymnastics programs, and that it's been incredible, and he's so excited about it, and that he's really hopeful that the government can support like more like our sport going forward and give us more access to equipment and coaching and staff and traveling and giving girls a lot more access to that stuff that really helps in the process. I would say the main things that I know from training in the U.S. and going through the U.S. system is like starting a very organized program of getting girls from all over the Philippines together in one place and having like monthly training camps. I think that's incredibly important because you know who your competitors are. You just bring in people from all over the Philippines, and you're able to kind of like pick out the more like talented athletes, and then also build the right technique and the right form and the right skills that ultimately lead up to the higher performances. And that starts from a very young age, and it is very hard to relearn technique in gymnastics because once you have incorrect technique, it makes it difficult to recorrect later in the future once you kind of build in that muscle memory. So I would definitely say doing like monthly clinics and getting the girls all together and really starting to set that up for the future would be incredibly
Consistent
important.
idea.
needs.
Yeah.
Well, in the next few days, you'll have so many interviews and all that. I know Signal's going to have you back soon.
Yes.
But you're going back to school soon too in the States?
Yes.
Stanford.
Yes.
Wow.
So I'm
And guess
very
what?
excited.
Impressive.
Go for it.
Communications major.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
So
Yes.
future anchor in the making.
Levi, what's next for you, and what's your blueprint for Los Angeles 2028?
There's a lot coming up. I mean, there's so many things to do in the next 4 years before LA 2028. I'm going to Stanford in the fall, so just adjusting to college life. I'm starting to do in-person school. I've been homeschooled for the last 4 years, so or not even 4, it's been 6 years. So adjusting to that, competing for my college is very exciting. And then in addition to that, being able to train elite so that I can compete in the SEA Games, hopefully, and Asian Championships. Those are the 2 goals as of right now. I'm really hopeful to continue to mature as an athlete and as a person in order to hopefully win some gold medals at those competitions and bring home some medals to the Philippines. And then going into 2028 LA, I really just want to continue training, building my performance so that hopefully I can be at my best at that competition and make the Philippines proud.
Woohoo!
Well, there you go. We can't wait to watch you in the coming competition, SEA Games.
you.
We'd love
Yes.
So many big plans.
Yeah.
It's so exciting.
Yeah.
Very
to
excited.
all you girls
Yeah.
We're
representing
rooting for
it.
you, and again, thank you for making us all proud in Paris.
The Philippines makes me proud, so it's not even.
We're
it's
all in praying that, of course, you remain injury-free
Right,
and
yeah,
healthy
right.
and
Yeah.
just enjoy it.
But think of
Thank
the
you.
legions of younger girls that you've inspired just by competing on that stage, right? They look at you, and now you can speak to them. They must look at you and think, maybe one day I can do that too, right? So I think that's going to be no, it's a wonderful thing. So I hope that's what you take away from this experience, apart from all the fun stuff, of course.
Thank you so much. It means a lot.
I wish we had more time, but
Yeah.
we'll have to leave it at that. Thank you very much. That's our champion, Pinay Olympic gymnast Levi Jung-Ruivivar. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.